Hello everybody. So I'm going to show you a simple setup with M3 Max MacBook Pro with a hub to a USB port. I'm charging the laptop also. But then using the Elgato Camlink 4K with a 4K cable with an HDMI to an HDMI connector, a USB 3 hookup, to the Cognac Brown ZF with the micro HDMI to an HDMI and a dummy battery already plugged in. And I'll show you how small and capable. It doesn't take up much real estate, but the reason for this is to show what different lenses. It doesn't have to be like a fast prime. I have a 4.5 with the Megadap adapter ETZ 2-in-1 Pro Plus on the ZF. And then I'll be showing Nikon glass and Sony glass using this setup to show you how 35 millimeter, I have one 40 millimeter and one 28 millimeter with different apertures, 4.5 to I think f2. And I want to show about the background that I'm going to be using. Get the most pleasing background. So when you're doing a live stream or one of your videos, how simple it is that it should work. I already got the camera mounted on a tripod from ProMaster. Camera's already set up. All I have to do is do the connections. And it's a very simple process. So the next part is when I'm in Ecamm Live Pro, and you'll be seeing the different lenses I will be trying for the second part of the video at 35 millimeters. I do have a 1.4 primes, which I forgot to talk about. But anyway, let's get to it. So here we have it. This is what you have from the laptop, the internal webcam. It's HD. I am at 4K, but it's just only doing a 1080p. But with this software, it'll make it into a 4K, okay? Simple. You just look at it. You can talk to it. It's the basic need. But if you want a more wider field of view, that's why I'm showing these lenses for this part. It's anywhere like from 4.5 aperture all the way to a 1.4. With different lenses, I got the Megadap adapter ETZ 2-in-1 Pro Plus on the Cognac Brown ZF with the Sony 35mm f2.8. And this is what it looks like right here. And as you can see, wider field of view, it looks better. It's not stuttering that much, but I just wanted to show you how you can make things work. So this is the first lens. Very small, tiny, compact. It's not quite kind of like a lens cap type of lens, but still, it's good. It's excellent. So, and it's at f2.8. So let's go to try another lens. So this is the previous 35 millimeter f2.8. Mounted on the Megadap adapter, the ETZ 2-in-1 Pro Plus. So you can see how tiny you can get. Now, this right here is the variable I think it's the 24 to 240 millimeter. This is now at f4, and I hope I'm in focus, but it doesn't look like it. But you know, you have to expect that. Maybe that should work. Sometimes with different lenses, and this is a third party also. No, this is a Sony lens. But you can see everything is sharp and clear at 35 millimeters. You see the background, it looks great. So I'm using a variable lens, all-in-one lens, and I'm going to have another one, which I really like, just to show that f4 is not bad for video and for live streaming. You just have to worry how long the battery's going to last. But I have a dummy battery, so it should last for the whole process. Anyway, let's go to the next lens. So, the variable lens at 35 millimeters goes up to 240, but at 35, it's quite different. This was at f4, this was at f2.8. You're also looking at the Tamron now, which is third party. It's the 35 to 100, and it's at f4. No, I'm sorry, it's at f2.8. So here's another 2.8 lens, but you have the capability of going to 35 to 100 at f2.8 all the way. Another example of what type of lenses you can use for your either live stream setup or even for your studio. If you want to record like selling a product or different applications of for the content creation. But anyway, this is the third lens, the Tamron 35 to 100 at 35 millimeters at f2.8. Now, I put on the Viltrox 28 millimeter, and as you can see a little focus breathing going on because of the autofocus. There is no manual focus for this lens. It's a pancake lens, very tiny, but at 4.5, and it just stays at this aperture, 4.5. You can see how well it is. Good picture quality. You just have to worry about the focus breathing. So anyway, I think it's getting confused. If I take off my, no, still focus breathing. But this is what you have to look to see what lens will work and what won't. So let's try another one. This is the pancake lens from Viltrox, 28 millimeter f4.5, but it focus breathes quite a bit on the ZF. It does better on the Sony because it's for Sony, but I wanted to show that off. This is the Sigma 35 millimeter Art f1.4, and it's version 2. It's a smaller lens, but it's better. It's not as heavy as the first version, and it has a faster focusing also. But this is one of my favorite 35 millimeter lenses. I got the Nikon 1.4 also, but I just wanted to show off what 35 millimeters with a good prime lens can beat. I think the 1.4 does a lot better because back here is becoming blurred, all right? But you can still see the background. If I increase the aperture, then everything is sharp. But I just wanted to show you the difference from a higher aperture all the way down to, well, you know, or I started with the lower apertures and then went up to the higher aperture. So now I'm going to do a switch. I'm going to do two lenses at 40 millimeters. So with the Sigma 35 millimeter f1.4, it's pretty big, but still the quality is good. Right now I'm at an f2.5 with the Sony 40 millimeter G lens. You still can get everything basically. It's a little bit closer to me, but you can get everything basically sharp. You can still see the blur action in the background. All right. And this camera is about 5 feet away from me. I just wanted to show you what you can do. So let's go to another 40 millimeter, but this time it's with the Nikon Z lenses. Okay, this is the TT Artisans 40 millimeter at f2. This is the Mega adapter ETZ 21 Pro Plus. This is the Viltrox 28 millimeter f4.5. The red dot compared to, let's see, where is it? Yeah, this dot. You just line it up, close it, and look how small it is. Of course, you saw a lot of problems with the focusing, but if I go outside and if I'm the only human, then you'll see that it's sharp and clear. But this is at 40 millimeters, okay? Kind of blurry in the background, still great. You can still see quite a bit, but I wanted to show you that sometimes they say it's a 40 millimeter and it looks more like a 35 millimeter. So now let's go to another Nikon lens or Z mount. This is a TT Artisans f2. So I forgot to show you the Sony 40 millimeter f2.5, and this is the TT Artisan 40 millimeter f2. Okay. I have the other 40 millimeter f2, but I just wanted to show these off. Okay, just to give you an example between 35 millimeters and 40. So with 40, I mean with 35, you get a little wider field of view, but you can see how sharp this lens is. Would you believe it's at f4.5? And this lens is the 28 to 400 millimeter. So it's like a f4 to an f8. So if a lot of people are interested in the 100s to 400s, all right, I like the 28 to 400 because it covers everything. This is one of my favorite lenses, that and the 35 millimeter, all right, and of course the 40 millimeter. So I like an all-in-one zoom, and then the 35, well, kind of like the 28 to 40, all right, range. I do have 16 millimeters. I do have 50 millimeters and stuff, 85 millimeters. But for streaming and stuff, I like the 35 millimeter. A lot of people would rather have a larger, but you know, with this Ecamm Live, you can do this and then put yourself in center. But look how sharp that is. Okay. At 4.5, you know, I think it's fantastic. I love this 28 to 400. Plus, you can do a macro on here. It's not a true 1:1, but still, you can get real close to the subject and, you know, at about higher aperture or whatever. It's a fantastic macro lens also. A lot of people don't talk about it. So let's go back here. Oh, messed up. There we go. Now let's go to the next one. So this is a great lens, 28 to 400. I love it very good or very much. But I have another f4 lens all the way through. This is 24 to 120. I look pretty sharp, don't I? And if I do a zoom in at f4, it's not bad. I got the ISO set to about 800 for inside for incandescent lighting. So anyway, let's go to the next lens. So with the 24 to 120 at 35 millimeters, all right, you can see that this is what you saw before. The other thing I wanted to tell you that I forgot to show you was I had a filter on the 28 to 400. I do have a lens cap for it, and I usually don't use filters, but for tight spots, I want to protect the lens as much as possible, especially in the camera case where you can get a lot of dust on your lens. That's why I have it on there. Two purposes, to protect the lens and also to keep the dust out. But anyway, I forgot to say that. So this is the 28 to 135 millimeter at 35 millimeter at f4, and it's the PZ lens. It's sharp too. It's one of the bigger lenses on here. Like I think it's even, yeah. So it's about the same height, but the girth is much wider on this lens. It's excellent. And what I like about it is the PC button, so that you can either do it on the camera or on the lens, where it's a smooth zooming in and zooming out. Okay. This is at 35 millimeters. And like I said, all 35 millimeters, this looks more like a 40 millimeter, okay, at 35. Yet the camera says it's at 35. That's another nice thing about the zoom lenses. It does show the millimeters away from the subject. I think it's a little bit off, because this looks more like a 40 millimeter. But anyway, this is at f4. Let's go to the next lens. So actually the 28 to 135 is the biggest lens, okay? We'll put it over here all the way. This right here is the version 2 of the 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8, one of the trifecta that all professionals like using. I think it's a fantastic lens, and at 35 millimeter, oh, wrong one. It's pretty sharp, okay? So I'll move that back a little bit. I'll step a little bit on my window. Back to 0. Okay. One more lens. And I'm going to put the Nikon 35 millimeter f1.4. I got the 1.8. I have another 40 millimeter f2 from Nikon, but you get the example of 35 millimeters, and then with the 40 millimeters kind of cut off a little bit, all right? Just to show you the difference, but still the picture qualities from a higher aperture to a lower aperture still works if you're going to do a live stream or for your content creation for YouTube and stuff, or even for Facebook or TikTok or whatever you want to use it for. A lot of people still use cell phones. They're good, all right? But whatever you decide to do, I just wanted to show you the differences between the lenses, uh, the higher apertures to the lower apertures, and what you have to look for, how to get them in focus a little bit before you start recording. It's all important. The ISO, the lighting, the white balance, very important. I'm just using lights in the kitchen area. This is the dining room. I got the kitchen light on. I got the living room light on, or the family room, whatever you want to call it. Great lighting, a good background, and that's what I'm trying to show off. Okay. This is the 2470. It's the S line. It's the version 2. Smaller, less heavy. Excellent lens. I had the 70 to 200 also, version 2. Love it. I'm waiting to see if they do anything with the 14 to 24, but the Tamra 12 to 20 is looking pretty neat also. But anyway, zooms or primes, it's excellent. This is a prime at f1.4, and it's the Nikon. And as you can see, and you can see the different lighting. So if it's like when it gets to the lower apertures, like 4.5 or 4, I turn darker. With the brighter apertures, like at 1.4 f2, you can see my skin tone becoming lighter. So this should do it. I already showed you the lens on the 35mm f1.4. It doesn't matter what lens you use, what type of adapter. I've showed you that you can use the Megadap adapter to change from one camera to another, or use lenses from a Sony brand to a Nikon. There you go. And I should say Nikon. That's how you pronounce it. But anyway, thank you for watching. Remember, stay safe, keep smiling, and I'll see you next time. Bye, folks. Have a wonderful day.